Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And give this video a like up. Young and the Restless predictions wonder if believes the worst about after her shocking confession, or if he will fight to prove she's innocent on the CBS soap. Recently, on Young and the Restless, Sharon Newman broke down and told Nick Newman everything. She couldn't bear to keep her awful secrets to herself anymore. So now Nick knows that Phyllis Summers was right. Sharon did, in fact, kill Daniel Romolotti's girlfriend, Heather Stevens. Then, she planted evidence at his apartment, making him look guilty. No doubt, Nick was in shock. He could not wrap his brain around it. He couldn't believe such horrible things could be true about her on Young and the Restless. But she needed him to know and forced him to listen to her and accept the things she was saying. Indeed, he is still struggling with it. Now, after hearing Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, confess to such horrible crimes, Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, is having a hard time accepting it. He doesn't think she's capable of it and feels she must not have known what she was doing. Of course, Daniel Romolotti, Michael Graziadei, doesn't feel that way. As far as he knows, Sharon murdered Heather Stevens, Vale Bloom, and framed him for it. He wants justice and believes Sharon should do hard time in prison. Nick has decades of history with Sharon on Young and the Restless and knows her extremely well. She's not an evil person. However, new evidence against her turns up soon, and it might make Nick question her character. He could end up agreeing with Daniel that she belongs in prison. Especially if this new evidence suggests she tried to kill Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford. While there is a possibility he could turn on her, chances are Nick will know something isn't adding up. Nick may realize something is not right and try to get to the bottom of Sharon's recent behavior. Now, Y&R viewers know the reason Sharon is acting so off. It all ties back to supervillains Ian Ward, Ray Wise, and Jordan Howard, Colleen Zink. Jordan is helping Ian destroy Sharon, and in return, he will help her get her revenge on the Newman family. So they messed with her medication, which had her acting erratically on Young and the Restless. And most likely, when she blacked out during her scuffle with Heather, Ian or Jordan Howard showed up and killed Heather. Of course, Sharon did plant evidence to set Daniel up. But she had Cameron Kirsten, Lyndon Ashby, in her head. Plus, she was terrified of losing her family. Eventually, the truth will come out that Sharon's being set up. And Nick may be the one who investigates until he finds the truth. He might be the only one besides their children who knows there's more to the story. The only time Sharon's ever done anything out of character like this was when she burned down the Newman Ranch years ago. And that was because her bipolar meds were off. So Nick should know there's a reason for her behavior on Young and the Restless, and will probably start doing some digging. Soon, Ian and Jordan are going after Nick and Sharon's daughters, Mariah Copeland, Karen Grimes, and Faith Newman, Ree Lancaster. Ian wants Sharon to lose everything, so the plan may be to kill her daughters. Furthermore, he will likely cause her to black out again and make her think she killed them to torture her further. If anything at all happens to the girls, Nick Newman will know it's not Sharon. She would never hurt her children on Young and the Restless. Chances are, he will expose the villains and their plans. And if Nick discovers Ian, it will all make sense. So instead of turning on her, he will probably be the person to end this nightmare. Y&R is explosive. Keep watching to see if Sharon and Nick Newman's relationship suffers permanent damage, or if he'll hunt down the truth to exonerate her on the CBS soap. In the fictional town of Genoa City, the air crackled with tension, and the dramatic lives of its residents reached yet another climactic moment. For years, Nick Newman and Sharon Collins have been at the heart of the iconic soap opera The Young and the Restless, entangled in love, betrayal, and redemption. Their story, an emotional roller coaster, has left fans divided on whether Nick should shun Sharon or come to her rescue yet again. As their fates collide once more, the question looms large. Will Nick turn his back on Sharon, or will he save her? Sharon has long been a figure of both strength and vulnerability. Her journey through heartbreak, mental health struggles, and personal reinvention has resonated with viewers, making her one of the most relatable and polarizing characters in Genoa City. Over the years, she has faced scandals, manipulations, and even legal battles that have tested her resilience. At the center of many of these conflicts has been her on-again, off-again relationship with Nick, the charismatic heir to the Newman Empire. Nick, on the other hand, has wrestled with his own demons. Torn between loyalty to his powerful family and his love for Sharon, he has often found himself making impossible choices. His protective instincts towards Sharon have been both a strength and a weakness, leaving fans to wonder if his actions stem from genuine love or a misguided sense of obligation. The latest chapter in their saga began with a scandal that shook Genoa City to its core. Sharon found herself entangled in a web of deceit after uncovering a dark secret about a Newman family rival. Her decision to withhold the information, intending to protect Nick, backfired spectacularly, leading to accusations of betrayal. The fallout was swift and brutal, with Nick feeling blindsided and betrayed. "How could you keep this from me?" Nick's voice was a mixture of anger and disbelief when he confronted Sharon at Crimson Lights, the coffee house they both cherished. Sharon, her eyes filled with regret, tried to explain, "I was trying to protect you, Nick. I didn't want you to get hurt." But Nick wasn't convinced. "Protect me or protect yourself?" He shot back, his words cutting deep. For a man who values trust above all else, Sharon's actions felt like the ultimate betrayal. As the Newman family closed ranks and Sharon became a target of public scorn, she faced an uphill battle to clear her name. Her once strong support system began to crumble, and she found herself more isolated than ever. Even her closest allies questioned her motives, leaving her vulnerable and unsure of her place in Genoa City. Nick's inner turmoil was palpable. On one hand, his love for Sharon remained undeniable. Despite everything, he couldn't ignore the history they shared and the countless times she had been there for him. On the other hand, he couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Was Sharon's latest misstep a bridge too far? Or was it yet another cry for help that only he could answer? Victor Newman, Nick's formidable father, wasted no time voicing his opinion. "You've given Sharon too many chances, Nicholas," Victor warned, his tone icy. "She's a liability. Cut her loose before she drags you down with her." But Nikki Newman, Nick's mother, had a more compassionate perspective. "Nick, you've always had a big heart. Don't let anger cloud your judgment. Sharon needs someone to believe in her, especially now." Caught between his parents' opposing views, Nick sought solace in his sister, Victoria. She, too, had her reservations about Sharon, but understood Nick's dilemma. "At the end of the day, you have to decide what kind of man you want to be," Victoria advised. "Do you want to be the guy who walks away when things get tough, or the guy who stands by the people he loves?" Nick's internal conflict reached its peak when Sharon was arrested for allegedly tampering with evidence related to the Newman rivals scandal. The charges were dubious at best, but the damage to her reputation was undeniable. Watching Sharon being led away in handcuffs was a gut-wrenching moment for Nick. Despite his anger, he couldn't deny the pang of guilt that stabbed at his heart. Was he partly to blame for her plight? Had his coldness pushed her further into despair? Meanwhile, Sharon's own struggles were evident. In the solitude of her jail cell, she reflected on her choices and the consequences of her actions. Her love for Nick had always been a driving force, but it had also been her Achilles heel. She wondered if she had relied too heavily on his forgiveness, taking his loyalty for granted. "I don't expect him to save me this time," Sharon confided to her attorney, Michael Baldwin. "Maybe I don't deserve to be saved. But Michael, ever the pragmatist, reminded her, "You've made mistakes, Sharon, but you're not beyond redemption. Fight for yourself, and if Nick sees that, maybe he'll fight for you too." As the days turned into weeks, Nick found himself unable to stay away. He visited Sharon in jail, their interaction fraught with tension and unresolved emotions. "Because I love you," Sharon replied, tears streaming down her face. "Everything I've done, right or wrong, has been because I wanted to protect you." Nick sighed, his heart torn in two. "Loving me doesn't mean making choices that hurt us both. You need to start trusting me, Sharon. Trust that I can handle the truth, no matter how ugly it is." In that moment, Nick realized that his decision wasn't just about Sharon's actions, but about his own capacity for forgiveness and growth. Turning his back on her might protect him from more heartbreak, but it would also mean abandoning a woman he had loved for most of his life. Saving her, however, would require him to dig deep and find the strength to move past his anger. The courtroom scene that followed was a turning point. Nick arrived unexpectedly, standing by Sharon's side as she faced the judge. His presence spoke volumes, silencing the whispers of betrayal and igniting a spark of hope in Sharon's eyes. When the verdict came down, not guilty due to lack of evidence, Sharon's relief was palpable. But the real victory was the renewed bond between her and Nick. "I'm not saying everything's okay," Nick told her outside the courthouse, "but I'm willing to try, Sharon, if you're willing to meet me halfway." As they walked away together, hand in hand, it was clear that their journey was far from over. Whether Nick's decision to save Sharon was the right one remained to be seen, but one thing was certain: their love story was as compelling and complicated as ever. For fans of The Young and the Restless, this chapter served as a reminder of why they keep tuning in. The timeless themes of love, forgiveness, and redemption continue to resonate, proving that even in the fictional world of Geno City, the complexities of the human heart are universally relatable.